giving and receiving of rings, I announce to you that they are married, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Those whom God has joined together, let no one put asunder. Amen. Amen. You may kiss your husband.
Jim and Joseph, the journey and it continues. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may God's countenance be upon you and give you peace. And for all of us together, may God bless you, and may God send you forth to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with God. Amen.
Businesses have become some of the biggest champions for LGBT rights during the latest round of conservative legislation designed to take away LGBT protections in several states. The NFL told Atlanta, Georgia that an anti-LGBT bill would cause it to reevaluate where it held the Super Bowl in 2019 and 2020. PayPal has canceled a planned expansion in North Carolina over a law that voided all local measures protecting LGBT rights. Letters by Google, Apple, and hundreds of other companies to the governors of states including Georgia, North Carolina, and Mississippi have proven corporations have a lot of pull when it comes to jobs, investments, and political donations. The LGBT community may have uncovered its most powerful ally in this latest struggle for civil rights.
A lorry driver is rescued from atop his truck as a swollen river threatens to drag him to near certain death. Thousands of passengers and hundreds of trucks carrying fruit and vegetables to the capital were left stranded as rivers broke their banks along Peru's central highway. Floods have battered Peru's coastal region, where 3/4 of the population live. Later than expected, the El Niño phenomenon has arrived with a vengeance. In other words, weather conditions linked to this El Niño have caused the heaviest rains and hottest temperatures in 2 decades. The weather phenomenon caused by the warming of sea surface temperatures in the Pacific has also caused drought in the country's southern highlands. That will impact the livelihoods for some of Peru's poorest.
80 miles per hour in Georgia on Friday, which were powerful enough to flip over a 18-wheeler. The severe weather is blamed for a train derailment in eastern Alabama. Heavy rain washed out a bridge and caused the tracks to separate. 22 cars of a 100-car freight train left the tracks. No one was injured. Officials say the train was not carrying hazardous material.
In West Baltimore, the wind was so powerful it knocked the walls down from abandoned buildings. Baltimore Housing Authority officials say in all, 7 properties were condemned and 3 will need to be torn down. Bricks, wood, and cinder blocks from those collapsing walls covered streets and sidewalks. Some cars even crushed beneath the debris.
A tornado outbreak in Tampa Bay. Check out this incredible video of a water spout this morning. It was shot by Don Evans near Sand Key. You can see that funnel cloud right there over the water. And more incredible video, this out of Clearwater, a twister right along the tree line. This was actually taken at Pinellas County's Emergency Response Building on Drew Street.
A 7.3 magnitude. That's got to be a big quake. What more can you tell us at this point?
At the time of the quake, we were at the 5th floor of a building, and we were the aftershocks of the Nepal earthquake and the recent Pakistan earthquake here in New Delhi. But this was much, much bigger. We all had to rush down, considering that this quake went on for a considerable period of time. After about 30 seconds, there were other aftershocks that came.
Have significant storm damage on the roof. Now, I talked to a homeowner who said that's always bad, but it's worse here in this part of Wiley, Texas, just northeast of Dallas, because a few weeks ago, they also had some hail, significantly smaller, but a lot of people filed claims and got a roof repaired. Now they're going to have to do it all over again. Baseball-sized hail does tremendous damage.
I know, it looks like in some of the video that it's snowing because it's all white. Right. You look at the ground, it's just pure white. Sometimes in hailstorms, you get those big baseball-sized pieces of hail, but not that much, Omar. Were these people prepared for this type of storm?
5 p.m. GMT. According to the China Earthquake Network Center, the epicenter, with a depth of 130 kilometers, struck in the Indian-Myanmar border area around 400 kilometers northwest of the capital Naypyidaw. No casualties or substantial damage has so far been reported. Strong tremors were also felt in India, Bangladesh, and China's Tibet Autonomous Region. In Lhasa, some residents were seen rushing out of their houses.
eastern state of Odisha as well as the southern states of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh have recorded a total of 130 deaths due to sunstrokes induced by the heat wave. And the country's Weather Bureau said the extreme temperature is caused by the El Niño phenomenon, delaying the usual April rainfalls. However, the Bureau said India will experience above normal rainfalls later this year.
A Fox News alert from Japan, where the U.S. Geological Survey now reporting a 7.0 magnitude earthquake rocking the southern part of the country after a 6.5 quake killed at least 9 people there yesterday and injured more than 800 others.
Ecuador this afternoon, killing at least 24 people. This comes after a series of strong quakes devastated parts of Japan this week. Today's quake hit along Ecuador's coastline just before 2 p.m. Hawaii time. The USGS says it had a magnitude of
7.8 magnitude earthquake has rattled coastal towns, and you are seeing the aftermath right here. Look at this video. The moment the quake struck. Let's listen.
Now, this is pretty much a depiction of what happened. The town of Dolores has about 20,000 people, so it's a small town, and this tornado was devastating, as you can see from these pictures. Debris flying catered to many of those injuries, but look how those structures got pretty much demolished.
Just got back to normal this morning. In the southern port city of Busan, powerful winds accompanied by 77 millimeters of rain capsized a boat and swept it 700 meters off course. Makeshift covers and numerous construction sites in Ulsan were flung off, damaging parked vehicles. In the southwest, road signs, signboards, and poles were flung out of place in Cheonju, while airborne garbage cans spread trash all over.
In China to help fuel its industries, and that's taking a hit on the water levels. The hotter and drier weather due to the El Niño weather phenomenon is drying up the water supply as well. The parched land is allowing seawater to seep inland, worsening the situation. Now, crops won't grow, the shrimps are dying. This is bad news for the country's economy, which relies on exports of such commodities.
Another earthquake to report this morning, the third quake in 3 days along what's known as the Ring of Fire. The 6.1 magnitude quake shook the Pacific island of Tonga. This happened around 7:30 at night their time, just after midnight our time. So 3 quakes again.
Landslide that killed at least 1 person. The floodwaters have ruined shopping malls, homes, and parking garages. Now, for those that haven't been evacuated to higher ground, they're still facing really big problems. Water service has been cut for 4.5 million people because the water's not safe to drink. People are being told to be sparing with the clean water that they do have. And the other obstacle, power outages. It's being reported.
Are underway in Houston this morning, even as floodwaters recede.
5 people died yesterday in southeast Texas. Nearly 1.5 feet of rain reportedly fell just west of Houston. More wet weather is in the forecast. Texas and nearby states face possible flash flooding through Thursday. Omar Villafranca is in Houston, where people are racing to escape rushing water. Omar, good morning.
The amount of rain, historic. The rescue attempts, dramatic. Streets became waterways, littered with people holding only what they could carry in their arms, and entire neighborhoods swallowed by rising waters.
quake on Saturday. There were no immediate reports of major damage. Ecuador's government says the death toll from Saturday's quake in the northern country has risen to at least 499. About 4,000 people were injured and 1,700 more remain missing. Government's most senior lawyers, he said that about a quarter of the country's population have been hit by drought after 2 consecutive years of weak monsoons. He added that the government had released funds to affected regions. As summer approaches, there are increasing reports of families in remote villages walking long distances to find water. Temperatures have risen earlier than normal, increasing concerns about this year's.
It's actually already warmed to the limit that the Paris Agreement aims for. Now, lots of people are talking about climate change on Earth Day. We dug into the data, and get this, Texas has actually warmed up nearly 2.5 degrees just since the first Earth Day back in 1970.
States from Tuesday's severe weather system, multiple tornadoes were reported in Texas, Indiana, and Kansas. Here's a look at the one in Mayfield, Kansas. That's actually a rogue tornado you're looking at. Luckily, there were no deaths or injuries. Winds were something else with these storms. We did have winds as high as 70 miles per hour, but the hail, that was pretty large as well.
This is crazy hail.
Yeah, that is some pretty crazy hail. And you know, the crazier thing is that that wasn't even close to the biggest hail that we had on Tuesday. Tuesday was a big hail day, close to 200 reports of hail across different parts of the country. I mean, you know, there were parts of Missouri that dealt with it in the morning, early afternoon, and then it was the plains into the late afternoon and the evening. And gosh, I mean, we're talking baseball-sized hail. I mean, look at this. One of those cans is about 2.5 inches in diameter, so that's easily some baseball-sized hail there, about 2.75 inches to be exact.
The U.S. Geological Survey said the quake struck offshore 95 kilometers southeast of the town of Santo at a depth of 10 kilometers shortly before 7 a.m. local time. There are no reports on casualties or damage yet. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said there was no imminent Pacific-wide tsunami threat from the powerful quake, but it added that hazardous tsunami waves were possible within 300 kilometers of the epicenter along the Vanuatu coast.
Hey there, George. We are in the midst of the most active severe weather outbreak so far this year. Anywhere from Nebraska to Kentucky, even Central California, feeling it this morning.
Ah! Get us out of here!
Tornadoes spinning from California to Kentucky.
It's a tornado! It is! It's coming down fast!
In Stanislaus County, California, drivers rushing to avoid the whirlwind storms. In Iowa.
Wow, huge tornado.
That is a tornado on the ground right there. Tornado on the ground.
The storms unleashing twisters, in some cases even 2 at a time.
There it is, right above us.
Recklessly slinging debris. This one rotating through central Illinois. Another hitting southeastern Nebraska.
Oh my God.
Swirling perilously close to homes.
That's a legit tornado.
In Omaha, hail smothering the roads.
Most of it golf ball size. Pretty difficult to even walk out here. It's like walking on roller skates.
And across the state line in Missouri, this explosive supercell churning out a tornado.